Shalom. Join me in the shade on a beautiful day, sunny and warm. I look at the spring flowers at this time of year. Primroses and vinca, lungwort, many other flowers coming into being. Yesterday I was talking about trust, reading from Hebrews chapter 11. These Hebrews were Messianic Jews, those who had come to believe in Yeshua as their Messiah, sent by God the Father, his only begotten Son. This letter was written about 30 years after Yeshua had been crucified, risen again, and then left them, promising to return. Imagine the doubts that kept coming. A smallish group of Jewish believers outside of the mainstream Judaism of the time, mocked, ridiculed, often outcast from their communities and including their own families, and under constant threat from the Roman occupiers who considered them to be a dangerous sect, who should have been worshipping the Roman emperor as they did. I'm just considering how hard it must have been for them to keep trusting and not turn away in despair, thinking they must have got it wrong. How many of you listening to my voice today can identify with those early believers, feeling confused, walking alone, constantly wondering if you've got it right, when so many think you're just plain crazy, or at best, a bit weird? Thankfully, we don't have to endure some of the things that the Hebrews did throughout their long history. Exiled, mocked, destitute, persecuted, wandering homeless. But our trials can be equally hard to endure. I truly believe that the trials we suffer are allowed by God to strengthen our faith in Him, bringing us closer as we continue to believe His promises and trust that He will fulfill them. Sometimes, when we get so far down that we have no choice but to trust Him in order to survive, is when we find out how strong our faith is. But what does the word trust really mean? My Oxford Dictionary describes trust as firm belief in the honesty, veracity, justice, strength, etc. of a person or thing, confident expectation. And 2, reliance of the truth of the statement without examination. 3, placing reliance in or reliance on. We need all those things to truly trust God. In trusting, we have to have a firm belief in God being true and trustworthy. We can have confident expectation that He will be there for us if we need Him, answer our cries when we call on Him, and fulfill the promises He has made to us, never to leave us or forsake us, and to take us to be with Him when our lives come to an end, when we will be judged. But He judges in absolute truth and impartiality. Yet in the darkness we can doubt Him, even though the Bible we read is full of examples of His promises being fulfilled. The writer to the Hebrews, for one, giving a long list of people whose negative experiences turned into positives, although many also lost their lives through following Him. The author, Ernest Hemingway, wrote this: Life breaks us all, but many are strong at the broken places. Have you ever heard of the Japanese art of kintsugi, which means join with gold? It is the art of repairing broken objects like ceramics, pottery or glass. And traditionally, gold lacquer is used to piece shards together again, creating a more beautiful object through the acts of breaking and repair. The Japanese philosophy behind it is called Mushin, no mind, which encompasses the concepts of non-attachment, acceptance of change and fate as aspects of human life. I find that philosophy extremely sad. Although we can all learn to accept change in a positive and non-negative way, because things rarely stay the same and some changes can be extremely difficult, even leading to our brokenness. Back to those broken places. We all have them. How hard it can be to trust in God at times when we find ourselves broken. Reflecting on the many times in my life when I have indeed found myself broken, I believe that God was the author of the art of kintsugi, but in a very positive way. I am sure He is with us in dark times and never leaves us or gives up on us, even if we stop trusting Him for a while. No, He is alongside us, collecting our broken pieces all together so that when we start to lift our heads again, looking towards the light, He can cover the scars with gold, gazing upon us as even more beautiful than before. Be still, dear one, I hear Him saying now. And from my daily devotional, I hear His whisper. He says, even when your body is still, you're still rushing. Your mind is constantly rushing with thoughts that do not lead to me. Slow your mind, be still and quiet. Come, spend time with me and breathe. Inhale my peace and exhale your cares into my trustworthy hands. Let me fill you with peace that passes your limited understanding. Release that concern to me. Take courage in stillness, in trust. I'm leading you down a different path, one that is fruitful and filled with peace. I honor your diligence to get things done, but I have a higher way. My ways don't strip you of peace and joy. The demands of life are real, but if you would take a step back, you will see which ones are important from my perspective. You don't have to force each day into a pretty little package that makes everyone happy or drains you of sanity. It is okay to say no and rest. It's okay to take care of yourself. In the midst of these demands, I want you to learn to love yourself the way that I love you, which can be so hard for broken ones to actually achieve. But He says, be still, dear one, be still. He knows you. He knows who you are. He knows your broken places. And He is filling them, soothing them with golden oil balm of His shalom. As you come to Him today, I'm reading from Psalm 62, which was a psalm of David, that troubled man. David says, my soul waits in silence for God alone. My salvation comes from Him. He alone is my rock and salvation, my stronghold. I won't be greatly moved. My soul waits in silence for God alone, he says later on, because my hope comes from Him. as if he is trying to convince himself that he must still keep hoping. He alone is my rock and salvation, he assures himself and us, my stronghold. I won't be moved. Psalm 62, verses 1 to 2 and 5 to 6. I leave you now, waiting for God alone, urging you to believe that your salvation comes from Him, that He alone is your rock and salvation, your stronghold. Don't be greatly moved. Wait in silence for God alone, because your hope can come from Him. He alone is your rock and salvation, your stronghold. Stand firm, be strong, be courageous. Your Hashem is near.